All right, guys. Welcome to another weekend edition of Ask a Dev. It's our weekly AMA where the jokes are made up and the points don't matter. No, that is the Whose Line Is It Anyway, which a lot of people probably never even watched that. But here we are once again. Every week I try to take some time, about an hour, to answer your guys' questions, trying to help you progress, because I think mentoring and helping junior developers grow, aspiring junior developers grow. That's what sort of the channel is all about. And here's the opportunity. Usually start off with a topic. This topic, anybody notice anything different? Anybody? Huh? Like there's no braces anymore? Yeah, I gotta get some teeth whitening, but I got my braces off on Monday. But yeah, no more braces. Life is good. I look about 5 years older because of it, right? I have officially become a man. Uh, no more braces. But life is good. It is also time for the holidays. I'm going to go visit some family for the holidays. Yeah. But life is good, right? So, what other things are new with me? Not too much. If you haven't seen the latest video, which is a high-level overview of the solid principles, the next 5 videos coming out. I'm doing about a video a week. For a very long time, I was doing 2 videos a week in a live stream. I've cut it down to a video a week and a live stream. And what we're going to be doing is going over each letter in the solid acronyms for the Code Like a Pro series. So it's been that's what's coming up. Um, I think that Code Like a Pro series is going to be a nice long term. Let's fully understand um, how we can level up our game. Um, yeah, got some WebAssembly questions that ask. I'm a bit confused on a specific road after learning JavaScript basics. What is the order of concepts to learn for web dev? Well, it's such a broad question. It's kind of hard to answer. But what I would say is just really make sure you understand the JavaScript fundamentals and that you can use them. And the great way to do that is just practice like algorithms. Like if I was to ask you to tell me if a string is a palindrome or not, can you think of how you might do that using the fundamentals of JavaScript? Express and React course opinion. I haven't really done too much any React or I've done React. I've done Express. I've never done a React or Express course. Specialize in front end before learning back end if you've already learned a lot for front end. I tend to think it's a great way to get started. Not everyone likes front end. I enjoy it. I find that I find that for me, having specialized in front end, here's the issue when it comes to specializing in the front end as a front end engineer. Is there's a very high disrespect of the front end. And part of it is just because it's kind of a crazy wild west, and JavaScript's kind of this beast in itself, and CSS is a beast in itself. So with that being said, people want to stay away from it. It's also, in my opinion, more complex. So to get a good front end engineer, like there's low quality. So it's such a broad spectrum in the front end. The reason for it is because you have people who are doing like HTML and CSS considered in there, no logic, and the WordPress guys and Wix guys that are right above them. Then you have people who are actually doing like JavaScript development, and they're all right. And then you have like good front end engineers. And if you're up here, it is so hard to find a good front end engineer. So it all kind of depends. The key is to get to that top. But if you're at the top of whatever you do, you're gonna be okay, right? What is the appropriate action to do if if you're scheduled for a phone interview but the company doesn't call, like not even late? Do you follow up with an email? Yes, an email, or if you have a phone call. If you're being represented by a recruiter, you immediately reach out to the recruiter. If I'm represented by a recruiter and it's been 5 minutes after the call, I immediately call the recruiter and tell them to find out what's going on because I'm busy and I'm sure they are. I got shit going on, so time is money, right? Get it together. And it puts a bad taste in my mouth because think about it this way: would you want to work with a place that doesn't value your time? Probably not. Um, so, how long will it take you to learn coding? That's different for everybody, man. Some people learn it in 6 months. Some people learn it in 6 years. It really depends on how dedicated you are. How do you ask for a raise? With a offer from another company is the way that I would suggest. So if you want to get a raise, a significant raise, um, the best way to do it is with a offer from another company. It's just hands down. It is what it is, man. Oftentimes, the statistically speaking, companies you don't work for will pay you more. So go and get if you want to stay at your company, but you want to get a raise, explain to them that you have a raise from another company or the market value and that actually have something in hand. And if you don't, take the other job. That's that. That's how you do it. All right. Good luck, Otho. Is there a significant pay difference between front and back end devs? There can be, but that again goes with the spectrum. There's also a significant pay difference between a bad dev and a good dev. Like there are people I share job titles with, not at my job, but there are people I share job titles with as a front end engineer that they literally same year's experience probably make half or less. And the reason for that is one, they either don't know how to negotiate, two, they don't understand their value, or three, they're just bad. So the same thing goes for the back end. Does the back end typically make a little bit more? Yeah, we're talking about maybe $5,000, $10,000. Same thing with the full stack. You might make another 5 or 10,000. So in a worst case scenario, in theory, a front end to full stack, with back end being in the middle, front end's gonna be on the lower end of the spectrum. But that 20 grand is nothing in the spectrum of if you're a good developer or a bad developer. Is it worth learning Python with no CS background? I mean, a good portion of devs who've learned Python have no CS background. Yeah, I mean, dive into it, right? So here's the thing: is like you have to go in deep. Like a lot of times people want to bounce around and this and that, but you just have to go in deep and get comfortable. How do I get better at CSS? You build things in CSS. It's that simple. You say, hey, I want to build something. It needs to be responsive. How do I get better at responsive design? You build something using responsive design. That's it. Especially now, it's so easy now in CSS Grid, man. CSS Grid, Flexbox. Um, oh man. By the way, someone stole my debit card today. How jacked up is that? Get off work, little app on the phone, decline charge, and then ding 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 ding, like 3 or 4 other charges. Turn off my thing, cancel my card. That's jacked up, man. I don't even know what happened. I have my physical card. Someone stole the number. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. It's unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is. What are you gonna do? Cancel my card, got the charges reversed. But now I don't have a debit card. I mean, I have other debit cards. I got like 4 bank accounts, but that's not the account I normally use. How do you feel about this new trend on YouTube where people are saying you can learn to code in a month using Team Treehouse? They're all so much full of shit. It's not a new trend either. People have been saying bullshit, crazy shit for a while. I have a whole video on the channel. What was it? Let me see if I can learn to code in 30 days. Is it on here? Yeah, I can't find it on here. But it's somewhere in my channel where I just essentially make fun of these people and tell you not to listen to them. Um, yeah, it's exactly that. So like when you're setting someone up for failure, right? If if you're at 30 days and you're like, oh look, I'm still a moron. I must be a moron because they say you can learn it in 30 days. There must be something wrong with me. Yeah. Master of the Mash, I think you're just not worried about. All WebAssembly means is that you have the potential to do front end development not in JavaScript. That's all it really means. Um, there's a whole bunch of things that have to happen for that to for that to occur, and some of it is happening, right? You have like C Sharp with Blazor coming through, and that's just essentially another client side framework. But the point is this is that if you're gonna worry about every little technology change, you're gonna struggle. The key is just to keep learning what the market asks for, and you'll be fine. These things don't happen overnight. It's not like in the next year JavaScript's gonna get phased out, HTML is gonna phase out, CSS. Any technology you think in the next year is not getting phased out. These things are slowly happening, and you have to sort of understand that. And when you see the trends, you learn, you get better, you keep growing, right? And once you're once you get good, like you become a once you learn how to learn as a developer, picking up another language, it's not that hard. It's not that big of a task. How long will it take you to be good in coding? A lifetime. Why are all other YouTubers focusing on portfolios instead of data structures and algorithms? That's not necessarily true that I don't focus on portfolios. If you ask me what's the number one thing you should do, I usually tell you to start a side project. I don't think you need to have an extensive portfolio. You'll just build when you like building things. You just build things to build them. So the data structures and algorithms, that's for you to get better so you can pass the technical interviews. And that will be what, once you get your foot in the door, or help you get in the foot of the door, you'll kill it. Eloquent JS or you don't know JS? Which one first? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Why are they making vanilla versions of things we already have? Well, we don't technically already have them. Like CSS variables, we didn't have that. We had Sass that compiles down to CSS, but now you have native. So here, the thing you have to understand about frameworks, guys, and like Sass, the frameworks using generally speaking, libraries, frameworks, whatever you want to call them. This is what you have to understand: is in a perfect world, they aren't needed after a period of time. So like the CSS variables is a good example of that, where you say, damn man, these Sass variables, that's some dope shit. People love it. It's really helpful. Let's add it to the standard. Add it to the standard. And then you don't need it anymore. That's why you shouldn't use jQuery anymore. You don't need jQuery anymore. jQuery does little to nothing for you anymore. Same thing with like Bootstrap Grid. The people that use Bootstrap Grid, you can do all that shit natively. CSS Grid, Flexbox. These aren't libraries. This is native stuff that was added that got rid of it. Other things. So like these things are slowly getting added, and the reason for it is because they're needed, and we should have a standard to do these things. Do all if conditionals evaluate to booleans? Yes. That could be a false boolean, could be a true boolean, but any conditional must evaluate. That's all it's doing. Any advice getting experience when no one will hire you because you don't have set experience? The key is to already be a software developer. And what I mean by that is people want to hire people with no experience when they're already there, right? So like you could have lots of projects. You could be, you're essentially a software engineer with just no work experience. That's where you need to get skill wise. Hey, I appreciate you, Jacob. Thank you, man. Is .dev coming out? How them fresh teeth screening? Good, man. I don't have the retainers in now. I take them out when I get home, and I have dinner, and I put them in when I go to sleep. So I have to wear retainers 24/7 for the first month, and I don't know what's gonna happen. But it's good. It's just kind of I'm getting used to wearing the retainers. Just kind of uncomfortable, but it feels good, man. Retainers for the whiteboard? No, it actually came with it. You'll see the magnetic ruler over there. I did pick up some more pins though. But yeah. I seem much happier. So I've been detoxing off caffeine all week, and so I'm doing pretty good. I'm also about to be on vacation for, let's see, 12 days. I don't go to work for another 13 days. I took a little bit. I had to burn some PTO, and I'm visiting family, and then we have the holidays and all that sort of stuff. So, I between the taking a little bit better care of my health to just having some time off, man. I'm good. So I'm outie. I left y'all. I left my I was working my ass off all week to get this project handed off to my coworker. So I did my best to get him something workable and decent, but I was working nonstop. But today, the last half of today, whew, I was draining. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm just so ready to be on vacation. It was like I was actually mentally tired because I just been like, all right, hacking this shit out, hacking this shit out, hacking this shit out, sending emails, sending emails, sending emails, hacking this shit out, hacking this shit out, looking at API documentation, API documentation, API documentation, blocker, blocker, block. It was just like, all right, hacking this shit out. So it was just it's just a little bit draining. And so by the end of the week, and we like got there to somewhere that was usable, to somewhere that was like, all right, cool. This is at a good state, a decent state. We didn't get 100% the way there, but I'd say we got 75%. Saw it 70, maybe 70, 75% there. Um, uh, but that was this week, man. I was just, look, I'm not one of those guys that wants to leave my team hanging, man. But it is what it is. I'm gone for 2 weeks. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't email me. I am gone for 2 weeks. You got any questions? You are off. You're talking to contractor Dylan now. Uh, contract Dylan gets paid way more than salaried employee Dylan. So yeah. Am I still exercising? Yeah, occasionally. I don't have a strict schedule, but with the gym just being in the garage, I go in there, do a couple sets. Was that root beer? No, this is a shock top. It's just a little beer. If you can't solve the problem, it sounds like you can't solve the problem, Jackson. You just gotta keep practicing, man. Um, so I work for so anytime you work for like a corporation, you'll almost never have a single application. There's going to be back office tools. There's going to be their website. There's going to be the other tools you're going to be building. So I work on the main website primarily right now. That's what I do. Yeah, the holidays are kind of a funny thing because like everyone has holidays, but they still want their features. And it's not like you can ask people not to go on vacay. Good simple tournament brackets? No. Any suggestions where to get good ideas for projects? Just things you're passionate about. It's the best suggestion I could give you. A good portion of my coworkers know C# and they're server-side developers. I work on the front end. What do I look for when interviewing people? A lot lower standards than you would think. No, what I personally look for is I look to quiz them. So I interview front end candidates. I look for a couple things. One is if they're current. So like if you don't know ES6, I don't even want you. Because like ES6 came out 3.5 years ago. If you don't know the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I don't want you. So I focus on the fundamentals when we're interviewing. I don't ask them questions about TypeScript. I don't ask them questions about Angular. I ask them questions about JavaScript, which is the fundamental part of our job, right? Because we could change frameworks next week, but you still gonna have no HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So that's what I asked them about. I don't care if you know Angular. I don't care if you know TypeScript, which is primarily what I work in. What I care about is that you know JavaScript, and simple things like double equals, triple equals, const first let, promises. You know, do I do? Yes, I practice test-driven development, so I'm always writing tests, unit tests in a certain fashion. Can I make a list of 100 interview questions? I'm sure I could. You could just Google it. There's not like anything I throw out of left field. The only left field question I throw is maybe two. I don't think they're left field, but I'll say I'll ask what falsy values are in JavaScript. I'll also ask why you might want to be careful using the type of operator. I have not used GraphQL, but it sounds pretty dope. Someone asked how I deal with if I've ever had a unprofessional coworker, how I deal with it. I simply report it to my manager and let them deal with it. I act professional the whole time, to the best of my ability, and I report it to my superiors. That's it. If there's an email trace, I will forward that. Um, these are things you have to deal with in the workplace, and the way you deal with them is just remaining a professional, and whatever happens, happens on their end. How do I get over the imposter syndrome? It's really easy when you have multiple companies offering you six-figure contracts. Like, like, like it gets much easier. Like when anytime I've accepted an offer or I renegotiated an offer, I've had 2 to 4 offers on the table. So like it gets pretty like just by like even if you like are like look, I'm not really sure, you're like, damn, I tricked a shit ton of people, right? um that's how I deal with it. How I dealt with it is like at some point you just have to say, um at some point you just have to say like, well, I guess I know somewhat what I'm doing because these people keep wanting to hire me. Like, um, but it's also a little bit of it's also a little bit of like you put the time in, man. I've put the time in. I've I put the time in every single day. Every day I read a chapter of a book. I'm working on the YouTube channel. Or I'm doing a video. It gets real easy real quick. Should someone be concerned if they're picking up coding really fast or just thrive at it better than other subjects? The only thing you should be concerned about is if you actively are like thinking you're picking up too fast. Because how do you know? Yeah, I mean, like, how do you know you're picking it up too fast? Who's telling you this? Is this a do you have a senior dev telling you this, or is it like you just think you're killing it? Like that's that's two different things. You killing it? You're like, I killing. I'm killing it. Ain't no one gonna give me a job yet, but um, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, look, I'm good. Um, the best language to start coding for beginners, I think JavaScript's easy, personally. It has some little quirks, but yeah. And Nazareth has the right ideas. Like the thing is about staying humble, right? You can be confident, but you have to be humble. I'm confident because I put the work in, right? I'll probably finish this 1,000-page book while I'm on vacation. Um, that I'm finished up. I just finished reading Clean Architecture. I'm working on my Solid Principles series. After that, I'll do some other videos. I'll probably start building another Udemy course, finish up my book. We're going to be starting the podcast stuff, all this sort of stuff. So it gets relatively easy. It gets relatively easy to get full of yourself when you're putting the work in. But that'd just be one thing. Just stay humble, man. We all have. It takes a lifetime. There's so much to learn about code. It doesn't, you know. Hey, hey, buddy. Little kitty. You can always get better. That's the thing. Has the Tampa job market for tech improved since you moved there? It may have. I could tell you that it seems to be very hot for me. I have recruiters hitting me up every single day. The last big programming mistake I made, um, like what's a big programming mistake? Um, I don't know, man. We all make mistakes, right? Like I have a tooltip component I built that it works, but it's not the prettiest thing, and it's kind of wonky, and it's bugged. I built a gradient, dynamic gradient placement thing where you could place it horizontally, vertically, and 9 different positions. And in this one position in the middle, it doesn't quite work, and there's a bug ticket for it. It works, it's just not perfect. So, how do recruiters find your LinkedIn? They just search for you. Probably search for skills. Is there a reason I dislike React? I'm not a big fan of functional programming. I'm also not a big fan of React. It's kind of lets you do the Wild West things. The thing I like about Angular is it forces convention, and TypeScript's built into it. That's what I like about Angular. And I like the object-oriented approach versus functional. You don't want to know this. Have I tried AI with JavaScript? Nah, man. What are other ways recruiters can find you? Recommendations, YouTube channels, those types of things. Yeah, the way state is handled in React is just kind of gross. Um, what kind of games are software peeps into? Board games. If you know React, should you apply for Angular jobs? There's no problem applying to it. Like if a company wanted to hire me for React, would there be a learning curve? Absolutely. Would I overcome it in like 3 weeks? Yeah. Like, um, that's why we don't care. That's why I don't care about interviewing people about like if they know Angular or TypeScript, because we'll get you up and running, man. You know, we're a team, we're collaborative, we're gonna help you. Chop chop goody. Want to move to New York City? I need to hire a front end person bad. Shit. What are you paying? uh, how you doing, by the way, Nick? Man, you can shoot me the details you want. I'm just curious. I might have some people I can recommend. 30K? Get out of here with that, man. Oh no, that's still not enough. Not for New York. Uh, I'm glad it's working out for you though. That's with my. That's only about that's not very much more than what I'm getting now, to be honest with you. Uh, um, but I'm glad, man. Uh, am I still living in Florida? Yeah. Um, yeah, Florida's good. Are you Nick? You still working at the startup? Yeah, no more braces. It came off on Monday. Nice. You got 2 people directly reporting to you? My dude. That management life. Good for you, man. Good for you. Oh, man. Is Angular more difficult to learn than React? Angular. So, like, if you were to give a learning curve of 10 hours to React, it's 20 hours for Angular. Like, it's not that big of a deal, and it's a lot easier now. So, like, the harder part about learning like Angular 2 was there's no courses, there's no like resources. Now there's stuff all over the place for that. You should probably pick up a framework or two, David Cam. I always find it surprising when you say there's a shortage of good developers. Is Nick not a perfect example? Nick's like, hey man, come to New York. We need a good front end developer. Nick, I'm sure Nick could tell you right now that there's plenty of people that show up for an interview, have 20 years experience, and they're morons. You know, they've just been going contractor to contractor to contractor to contractor. Um, and same thing with people with 2 years experience. So people are like, "How do you find jobs, Dylan?" I if I wanted to, I'll go work with Nick in New York. Look, man, I know you guys think I'm bullshitting when I tell you that 99 out of 100 candidates are bad, but it's true. It's so true. It's hard. What framework I say you should learn in the front end? You should pick up React, Vue, Angular. Those are really it. Play around in them. Vue has quite a few jobs right now. Do you think it's because front end development has such low barrier of entry? Well, although I interviewed just front end developers, we have the same issue with server side developers and everything else. Why are tech hubs in specific geographical locations like Utah? Tax benefits. Corporations like low taxes. If they need to build new facilities, you know, eventually areas get too expensive, right? So, you know, people move around, right? So like New York, 130 in New York is not 130 in Tampa, right? So like they're probably struggling to get front end developers, even at that, even like forget getting good ones, just getting decent ones for that pay rate in New York. Because if you could get that in Tampa, it's like 2 to 1 on your money. So what happens is you have other tech hubs that open up, right? So Los Angeles, New York tech hubs, and you can make good living. And people are like, oh, you can't live off 130 in New York. You do just fine. You know, but then you have things like Salt Lake City or Tampa, where all of a sudden more tech companies are getting started, they're blooming more often, and it's because it's cheaper to buy a house and getting situated and getting your life together and all that sort of stuff. Do you regret relocating for your previous job? No. Happy to relocate. I've been in Florida for 2 years now. 2 years and like 4 months. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. I haven't gone home. I haven't gone home in over 2 years. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Do I label developers bad because they're bad at whiteboard interviews? Look, man, if you can't do fizz buzz on a whiteboard, you're bad. Uh, that's the truth of the matter, man. I don't care what you've tried to tell me. I get nervous. I forget how to divide by 3 and modulo by 3 and 5. Look, if you can't do a for loop, an if statement, and a little bit of math, you're bad. It doesn't. That's it. That doesn't mean that you can't get good. That doesn't mean you can't get better. But if you can't do FizzBuzz, you're bad. Or at the very least, you're not good, and I don't want you to be part of the team. Because I want people who are putting in the effort to get better, putting in the effort to grow, are working hard, are at that stage in life. Because if you're coding every day, you're in the grind, you're actually working, it's easy. Are your parents surprised you went from college dropout to making six figures in literally like 3 years? I mean, 2 years, who's counting? No. I don't. I have no idea, man. Um, um, I don't. I mean, here's the thing, man. Anytime you tell anyone who's ever told their parents who have paid for their college or not paid for their college, uh, and said, yeah, two-time college dropout. Let's just clarify. I'm not one of those filthy one-time college dropout casuals. We're talking about two-time college dropout, baby. I mean, here's the reality of the situation: is no one believes you're gonna do it till you do it. Um, I don't know how much money I'll make as a developer, but I'm doing okay. But um, this shit doesn't happen by accident. Um, so are they probably surprised? Yeah, man, because they worried about me. It's not the choice they ever would want me to make. No parent ever who's like totally for college is like, oh, by the way, you know those like 6 years I spent in college and I have like a year and a half left? Fuck that. I'm out. I can't do it no more. I'm going self taught. See y'all later. No one's ever stoked about that, right? And they're worried and they see you quit one thing and they assume you're going to quit another, right? So are they surprised? I would imagine so. But I don't know, man. I think my dad's still to this day just waiting for me to be unemployed. um, would an interviewer get mad for practicing test-driven development for whiteboard questions? I'd be impressed. But I'd be a little surprised. What kind of project would I consider making apply for first job? Something that you can continue on long term with. Like my YouTube channel is a great example of that because it's one of those projects where I still have the chance to build upon it. It's still something that's growing, right? Um, it's a great thing because of that. Am I subscribed to Coding Tech? Yes, it's one of the channels I most recommend. Would I ever move into iOS development? Probably not, man. I'm not a. I move into Android much before I'd move into iOS. I'm not a fan of Apple, how they run their business, uh, or anything like that. I think it's just overpaid hardware, and people just get hyped up about it. I still don't have a good storage. When I get back from vacation, I'm gonna like reorganize this office. Yeah. Do I know anyone? I mean, I have iOS developers at work. I'm not sure what you want me to detail their experience. I'm not quite sure how to answer that one for you, man. Tips for buying a house: save, save, save. Have a nest egg in case things go south, right? So, like, if you're renting an apartment, 3 months is good of backup cash. if you're buying a house, you're gonna want 6 plus. Um, I'd probably even have more than that if I didn't already have passive income coming in. So not choosing iOS would have nothing to do with the job market. Yeah, I don't know anything about iOS's job market, but I would probably go the Android route. The reason for that is it's some. Last time I looked at, if I was interested in learning mobile development, I go Android because 80% of the market is Android versus 20%, and iOS keeps continually going down. The most impressive personal project I've seen? I don't know. What percent? I just put 3% down. I plan on once I get some roommates, I plan on paying an extra $5,000 off every month, um, and so I'll get to that 20% in about six months or so. Do you think web development job market will rise or drop in 2019? I mean, 2019 it'll probably just keep going. That's the thing about the web, man, is like everything's connected to the internet, and instead of having people install apps, when was the last time you installed an app besides like Discord or a video game? So like everything's going to be a web-based version, and that just means web development's continue to grow, and that's a good thing. I work in an open space environment. Yeah. Speaking of which, I keep on. How much design do you deal with at work? I don't really design things, but I implement designs. Last I checked, there's 8,000 iOS openings according to Indeed. How many Android openings were there? I'm just telling you the stats, man, about the actual usage of devices. So, do I work in the same place I did 6 or so months ago? I did. I do. Yes. Life is good, man. After completing your first algorithms course, is that enough to start learning JavaScript framework? Yeah, if you did the 100 algorithms, man, you probably picked up a few things. You're getting comfortable practicing. Start building projects on frameworks and whatnot. No days off. Hey, Andy. Do you ever think Apple consumers will get ripped off and switch? Yeah, I think it's already going to start happening. That's why like Apple's not releasing how many smartphones they've known. Their profits have gone up, but their sales have gone down in terms of like total units shipped. How was John's book, The Complete Software Developer's Career Guide? I enjoyed it. What level am I in Code Wars? I don't do Code Wars. I've done Code Signal. So unfortunately, I haven't had too much time for algorithms as of late. You're an Apple consumer, you don't think you're switched? That's okay. Um, you'll see. You'll see Apple slowly die off. I think in 10 years you'll see Apple have a massive dip. I mean, here's the thing: is literally their market domination is going down percentage wise, but their sales are going up. So what's happening is the people who like it are keep buying it, while more people are not liking it, and they stay away. So like, does that mean they can't have a business? No, man. But at least in my standpoint, uh, it's always been one of those situations where I think Android will continue to pick up pace, and that means Apple's. But I don't know. I don't know. It's not like they're gonna go away. Would taking 2 days off a week be too much? Yes. I haven't watched the most recent couple seasons of Silicon Valley. I want to say, the first 3 seasons, and I really enjoyed that. Do you require PHP knowledge to make a point system? I'm not sure what a point system is. Would I consider working for a bigger but boring company like IBM or Adobe? Why do you think IBM or Adobe would be boring? If anything, they probably have a ton of different projects and teams, and you could jump into it. You know, you go work for a company like Microsoft; they have hundreds of teams, quite literally hundreds of them. Oh man. I think you need to be comfortable with the JavaScript fundamentals, but you should pick up a framework. What if Microsoft told you we're gonna IE? I might say yes to Edge. I'd never say yes to IE. Yeah. I primarily do uh I just do front end for the most part. Do you listen to rock music? No, not really. Sort of the music I listen to is gaming or anime remixes, like trap remixes. Yeah, don't be throwing that wife word around like that. I think what you mean is my girlfriend cleans the house well. So if I'm gonna be semi-retired by 40, what then? Other than side projects, are you gonna chase that billionaire boys club? Nah, I don't need that much money, man. If I have like 120 grand coming in passively, um, I'm good, man. So I'll probably, my goal is to be retired by 2030. Be self-employed. Self-employed is a better way of saying it. So, uh, um, honestly, I don't know. Travel, eat a lot, see the world. What that's the thing. That's the thing about having passive income. You can be active with whatever you want, as long as you have enough of it, right? Um, yeah, so that's it. Why were people mad at Microsoft buying GitHub? Because people like to be mad about stuff. Any tips on how to balance a coding life so you don't get burnt out over time? It's something that I've struggled with. Um, so I can't give you a good answer. Do I bother to support troublesome browsers for your side projects, Edge and Safari? No, but I've never really had a massive side project. Like this may surprise you, but I don't really have any web applications uh um I've launched this next year. That's one of my major goals is launch a web application, and I think I know what I'm gonna do. So hello, Mike Boala. Ever thought of doing a blooper reels video? Most of the time, I just keep that in. So for a while, I was throwing little bloopers at the end of my videos. How soon do I will think AI will be able to do the web dev capabilities? The second AI can do our jobs is the second that we need to actually worry about sentient and robots. Yeah. What am I drinking? Shock top. Yeah. Achilles. If I launch a side application and it takes off, would I go with it full time? Go full time on it? Um, hmm, buddy. I mean, define takes off. Like, I probably wouldn't do it until it made like triple my salary. Get out of here. You swiping me? You little shit. You gonna swipe? I don't know. I have no interest in necessarily retiring, so I'd probably what I would probably do what I would probably do is I probably would work for several years as it makes good money, and then I would just buy some properties. Do I ever miss California? Not necessarily California. I somewhat miss Mexican food. I somewhat miss a little bit of the weather. I somewhat miss family. Um, I don't miss it enough to ever move back. I could see myself moving out of Florida, but it wouldn't be back to California. It'd be someplace like Utah or Vermont. Um, yeah. Once I learn C# what job title would pursue, front end manager. The next job title I am pursuing is senior front end engineer, followed by tech lead or team lead. That is that is what I that is my next thing I'm gonna pursue. Yeah, the next area I live in is definitely gonna be high snow. Unless my current works just as like, look, we can't live without you, Dylan. Here's X amount of dollars, but I'll probably be here 3, 4 more years. Am I already paid like a senior? Yeah. That doesn't mean I don't want it in my title, and it doesn't mean that I don't want them put in my title and give me a pay raise. Like, sorry, Mike. I don't really know too much Python, man. Hey, and Waldo, have your debates, man. Um, and that's the thing is like I think we can acknowledge there's probably less mobile jobs than there are web jobs. But if you want to do mobile, man. How much time do you spend on average per ticket? It depends on the ticket. Some days 15 minutes to an hour. Some days a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Um, you know, I had two closely related tickets that I've been working on 5 days this week. I wasn't able to get them done. And but like if you want to do mobile development, you'll be successful in mobile development if that's your passion. Just don't go into something for money. And that's what happens a lot. And if people are like, "Well, why are there so many bad devs?" Because a lot of people try to do it for the money. And don't get me wrong, the money's great and it'll always be good for the most part. But you have to understand like the people who get good are the people who enjoy it and continue to grow and they like it and they want to dive deeper and they want to get better and they're passionate. Those are the people who really make the money. Everyone else burns out. They go and become a business analyst or the project manager. Or they jump into QA or something a little less technical because they don't have the passion for it. They hate it, and they slowly get miserable. The thing I can tell you without a shadow of doubt is that the majority of people in life hate their job. As a developer, if you enjoy it and you enjoy the challenge and you enjoy learning, um, you will love your job. I absolutely love my job. Yeah, Waldo Mac gets it. It's like he loves mobile way more than web, and I just let him stick with it. Yeah, and you'll be way more successful with it because you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna grow. You're not forcing yourself to do something you hate. Don't be part of that 70% that hates their job. Go and find that thing that you like. And if it's in development and it happens to be mobile, it happens to be back end, front end, go and do it, man. Enjoy it. Uh, Jobs will give you like fitness incentives and education bonuses and stuff like that. I don't really want to talk too much about my workplace because they probably wouldn't appreciate that, but that's not an uncommon thing at all. What's the general relationship between UI guys and the dev guys? It all depends, man. Every organization is different. In the early days learning web development, do you ever feel like you were putting much more into it than you were getting out? Of course. Of course I did. Because I was doing it for free. No one was hiring me and I was chasing a dream, right? So like you have to believe at some point, like here I am, recent college dropout, working a job in the software industry as I'm working my way up to learn skills so that I could go and become a developer. And the whole time I'm studying every day, studying every day, studying every day, studying every day, studying every day. And then I finally got my next job and everything worked out. But like, yeah, of course, it's you're doing some. It doesn't work until it works, right? Like you're putting effort and energy into something and you're getting no immediate return. And this is something that's really hard for people. A lot of people, they need that absolute immediate return because they don't have the discipline or in their life. Never in their life have they ever done something where they didn't get something immediately back. It's like if I was like, "Hey, here's $100." And you're like, "Cool, I'll give you your shit a year later." But in that meantime, I need you to do something for me. I need you to give me $100 every single day. That's sort of what it's like. Like, granted, the payoff in the end is going to be huge, but most people they just don't have it in them. Were you this hardworking when we first started? I honestly am not as hardworking as I was when I first started. I'm just consistent now. That's the thing is I'm consistently putting time, effort, and energy into getting better. When I first started and I was working a full-time job, I was doing 4 hours a day on the weekdays and like 12-hour days on the weekends. So now it's like cut that by like 1/10. But I'm consistently every single day working to get better. Why did people who interviewed at Microsoft call JavaScript a kiddie language? That's the name of the game sometimes, man. Uh, that's just a lot of software engineers don't have any respect for JavaScript, and I understand why, but it is what it is. We got a barbecue one day. Hey, send me the invite, man. I'll show up. All right, guys. It's been fun, man. I appreciate you all. As always, if you want to support me and you want to support the channel, you can. through fan funding, or you can through buying my courses in the description below, as well as check out the books I recommend so that you can help level your code up. I'm gonna get off here now. I'm getting a little sleepy. This beer and the weekend, and we're here. It's ready. It's vacation time. I appreciate you all. Hope you're all working hard, and I'm gonna go. So see you guys next time. And if I don't see you by Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Bye, guys.